Hello Fanatics, I'm Dylan Phillips, and let's talk about Season 1 of the Netflix original, Friends from College. First, we'll start off with our recap of the show, then move on to our review, and we'll finish off with telling you whether it's worth the watch. Created by Nicholas Stoller of Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Neighbors, Friends from College follows the story of 6 Harvard alumni who reconnect 20 years after college as their interwoven and complicated relationships with one another cause problems with their now separate adult lives. Recap time. The main story of Season 1 revolves around a long-standing affair between Ethan and Sam, who have been having this affair since well before either of their marriages. This complicates life when Ethan and his wife Lisa decide to move back to New York City, where they reconnect with their friend group and their lives start to crumble. Ethan and Sam continue their affair despite knowing that it's wrong, but they just can't help themselves. Lisa starts a job that she absolutely hates, while Ethan attempts to write the next YA flagship novel with his friend from college and agent, Max. Meanwhile, Max's boyfriend, who is a fertility doctor named Felix, is attempting to help Lisa and Ethan have a baby. But all the problems occur while they're trying to conceive, and it just causes strain on their relationship. Nick, after a long string of meaningless relationships, decides to propose to his younger girlfriend, Dustry. Felix sees that the group is a little bit too toxic and decides that he wants to take a break from Max. Ethan and Sam continue their affair, but almost after being caught a number of times, Sam decides to break it off. Lisa, upset with Ethan, goes on a work trip to the Cayman Islands with Nick, who we learn is her ex, and they sleep together on the trip. Max learns that the YA novel Wolf Trials that he's been writing with Ethan is actually a property that his company has already written. The finale ends with Nick and Lisa's affair being exposed to the group, with Nick's fiance leaving him, and Lisa deciding that maybe she and Ethan should also take a break. Oh, and the last member of the group, Marianne, she's there doing stuff. So this show has a typical premise that shows promise to become a great long-standing sitcom, but it can never get its feet quite off the ground. None of the main 6 characters are even that interesting. They're self-deluded, unpleasant, and outlandishly stupid, despite them being Harvard graduates. Out of all the characters, I'd have to say the best one isn't even one of the 6, and it's Felix, played by Billy Eichner. But the character issues are the least of this show's concerns. The overall setup and story is another huge issue, as the plot focuses primarily on the theme of infidelity and these characters reminiscing about their years in college. It's honestly like someone reliving high school as the best years of their life. The problem is that despite all of the nostalgia, there's absolutely no substance. It's a bunch of college crushes taking a second chance at the unanswered questions of what if from so long ago. And yet, this still isn't the biggest issue that this show has. The more deep-rooted problem is its total identity crisis, unsure of which genre it's supposed to fall under. In one scene, it'll be a very dramatic relationship-based story, and then the next, we'll have Keegan-Michael Key doing some comedic bit or random voice. The tone of this entire series is confusing, as its runtime is the typical sitcom length, but then they also cast comedic actors in dramatic roles. It gave me a very "This Is Where I Leave You" vibe, in which they had comedic actors playing dramatic moments, and then they had comedy sprinkled throughout the film. However, this series never succeeds at that. Now don't get me wrong, these actors are great. They just didn't fit the characters, and the characters were a little underwritten. I felt like a lot of the times when the comedic moments were supposed to be happening, it was more forced laughs if anything. To be quite frank, the show is not very funny, at least on a sitcom level. There are maybe a handful of passable jokes, but there's nothing that really makes you laugh out loud. By episode 3, the narrative succumbs to predictable cliches, unfunny dialogue, and dull characters. Not even guest stars like Kate McKinnon and Seth Rogen could amp up the amount of comedy. Perhaps the creators wanted to depict a more real world rather than a sitcom world, but who really wants to watch that? Friends from College is mediocre at best, but with only 8 episodes readily available, it's a 4-hour time passer while we await new seasons of better shows. Trust me, if you get distracted for a couple of minutes, you're not going to miss much from this show. So I'm going to say, it's not worth the watch. And that's our recap and review of Season 1 of Friends from College. If you've watched it, what did you think of the season? And was it worth the watch? Let us know in the comments below. As always, I'm Dylan Phillips, and thanks for watching. If you liked this video and you want to see more, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. check out our latest Fanatic 5 video where we discuss the top Andy Serkis roles. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. And until next time, Fanatics, keep it real.